It's recording. So it should be live. Gonna post the announcements. Post.
Hello.
Post. And one here. Post. And one more. Where is it? Source. Post here. Hello, do we have people in the chat?
Hello.
I don't really get any people because everybody probably started working on their MMC entries.
Oh, yeah. Imagine we just get like 2 people on the stream. Rar.
Hello. Hello, Baker Agent. Oh my god, we got row. It's a lot of rows. Hello, everyone.
Guys,
Hello.
it's dire. I've become a coffee drinker, guys.
Why is it dire? We'll see them. How?
Because now there's credence to me being brown. Like coffee.
As far as things go, like it's a good source of brown coral.
It is a good source of brown color.
Oh, much good for example. Hello, War TRA. Great things. Not the great things, but the great things. We're gonna be grating some cheese. Oh, you have to go for purple primes for that one.
Don't look at me, I'm not yellow.
Oh, I don't want to be grated. Oops. So anyway, hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We're doing another... I'm English saying things are no longer in motion. For now. Welcome everyone, welcome to Under Resonance. I'm Froox, I'm here with Sarah. And we're going to be answering any questions about Resonite, like any other stuff like you want to ask. Feel free to pretty much ask anything. Some things we might like direct you to some other office hours. Like for example, if it's like something heavily with moderation, we'll direct you to the moderation office hours that happened an hour and a half ago. So we have to do the next week one. But feel free to ask. At worst case, like we'll kind of redirect you. One thing, make sure put a question mark in your message. That way it kind of pops on our pinned messages, and that way we see it. And make sure, like, you know, we don't miss it. We also have a few questions from Discord. They were like in advance questions, so we're gonna go through those first. See if like any questions kind of pile up. And I think it should be everything ready to get started. We also at some point we're gonna probably do like another community kind of showcase for like cool things that you guys made. So let me put a camera to an anchor. Oh, I've turned off the interpolation again. Ugh. There we go. And let's get started. So the first question we got comes from the Discord, is from Missing. Missing is asking, will we get support for foveated rendering onto HDMI with eye tracking at some point? So I'll probably lower the music too. Like, how's the audio actually? Is the audio okay? There's a music in this world, so...
You can pause the background music over there if you need to.
No, I can just lower the multimedia. I was more asking to the chat, like, if it's okay or not. But, Missing is asking, will we get support for foveated rendering onto HD with eye tracking at some point? At some point I would say yes. The bigger question is, what is at some point? Right now we're using Unity and we're using something called deferred pipeline, and the foveated rendering doesn't work as well with that. Like, it can require a fair amount of like manual work. It could help in some scenarios. Like, the thing is, like, it's gonna help like if you GPU bound. So like if you're in the GPU bound scenarios, there's like a lot of complex calculation per pixel, lots of complex lighting. It's you know, it'll help in that case, but like otherwise, like, you might not really get much of a boost. So it might be better once we actually switch to a different render, because like we want to use clustered forward pipeline or like something similar, which makes it a fair bit like easier like to actually do foveated rendering for those. Is the music a little bit too loud? Can like lower it, just make it... Oh no! The music's on... Why is the music not on multimedia?
Do you want me to just go pause it?
No, it's not sound effects. I just lowered it. I'm just surprised like it's not because this is music you wanna classify it as multimedia, but it's classified as a sound effect, which is a bit weird.
Oh, I see. It's just because it's like a media player over there.
Media players like you can do like different classification. That's
Oh
odd.
well.
Oh, we can just stop it if the music doesn't really fitting. I'm just gonna, there we go. Gone. No more music. But yeah, I'm confused. Is it good music or is it good music? It's off.
let's just leave it for now.
Anyways, yeah, it kind of depends. So at some point, I would probably say after we switch to the render, I don't think we would get too much benefit right now. Maybe like in some scenarios, but like I don't think it like warrants the effort unless like it was kind of sort of a drop-in solution, but like I don't think it is right now. The next question is from Adiksha. I don't actually know how to pronounce the name, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. They are asking, how can we as players contribute more to the growth of the game? There's a lots of different ways to do this. So the easiest way is, just play it. Be part of the community, because we need more people. Resonite is like at its core, like it's a social VR game. You interact with people, so like having more people online, having more people to interact with, that generally kind of helps. Like makes the community bigger, makes more people for like for everyone to hang out with and interact with. So just playing it, that helps the growth. Bring more people, like bring your friends, like showcasing to people that helps as well. If you want to do things that like are a bit more effort to the growth of a game, building cool content, and I think also importantly showcasing it online, like showcasing outside of Resonite to bring more people and show people this is the cool stuff you can happen on the platform. That can particularly help because that also helps bring more people and grow the platform over time. And also, of course, if you want to support us financially, like ideally through Stripe, you can also do it on Patreon. But Stripe, like we get actually a larger percentage that helps fund the development. It lets us keep the lights on. It lets us pay people to kind of keep developing the platform. So that helps too. And also, like if you can become a mentor for the platform, that kind of helps like bring new users, helping them out. Potential moderator. We can also help us like reporting issues, like on GitHub, like helping like diagnose and fix issues and implement things. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Kind of depends how much effort you want to put in, and like what kind of suits whatever suits you. But even just like playing the platform, hanging out, socializing, even that like helps because the more people are on the platform, the better for everyone.
Yeah, you don't even need to have any like special position either to be able to help out.
Yes.
Just like come around and be helpful in the community, teach people things. You don't need to have any sort of fancy badge for that.
Yes. Next question is also, why is this? Oh, then the camera's being really weak. Oh, what is happening? What is happening? Something really weird is going on. Oh, did interpolation freak out? Sorry, it's gonna be weird. Let's see. Next question. It's also from the same user. Does the team intend to implement verified community status for long-standing regional groups to help users find legitimate local communities? We don't have any plans for it right now. One question is like, what would actually, require? Like, like what criteria would we place? I don't feel there's like super much need for it. Like people form communities, and like generally people are like in like good faith for things. Like they're like, we haven't really seen like any kind of people being particularly malicious or anything. So I would say pretty much any group like you find like would be legitimate. So maybe if we see like a bunch of kind of like, I don't know, what would be like probably like a problematic communities or something like that would require something like that. But like I don't feel there's like a really need for it. Like people can like we can already kind of find communities and share them like on Discord and other places, and there's a good chunk of them already. Would more maybe help is like having some sort of repository like where like it's easier to find those communities. So maybe something along those lines. One thing I usually do worry like with the verified communities, like it kind of creates like weird kind of social status thing. But like right now there's like no plans. If there's ever like need and this seems to be like a good solution, maybe then we would consider it, but we would probably need to have a reason for it. If you feel like there's some kind of like reason like to do this right now, like feel free to share. But right now, from where I can tell, like I can't really tell much. And next question, also from the same user. We've noticed that headless servers are extremely resource intensive, especially with high player counts. Are there any upcoming optimizations planned to reduce CPU and RAM overhead for large scale instances? So we have like a bunch of optimizations in general. Like we did quite a big one like last year, like was the splitting, but it was actually for the headless for a while, so that kind of like helped quite a bit. There's like a number of things you could do right now. Like for example, one thing that people do is having the users be called, on the headless, so it's not kind of not computing them, which it can break some things. But like if you need like if you need more CPU, like then there's a thing you could do, and like have the headless kind of like the other things, but there are different like some optimizations. Like the thing about like how headless works and how like the client works is they actually share like 99% of the code. So whatever optimizations we do to help like the graphical client, they also benefit headless generally. There are some headless specific things we could do, like where for example it like avoids computing certain stuff, or like maybe does it like lower fidelity. So for example, one of the things we could do is we want to have like a variable rate update system where it sort of updates things less frequently, and like maybe you could configure headless so it still computes stuff, but like maybe does it at like much lower rate, which you can do globally by adjusting the tick rate, because tick rate like indicates how many updates the headless will try to do per second, so that can help like lower some of it. Yeah, it's definitely like a few things. There's generally like most optimizations will benefit like kind of both. There's like some stuff like where, for example, you can have the headless not load certain things, like not even attempt to like load them, which can cause some issues like if you're running behaviors on the host, because now that stuff doesn't exist on the host. What could be potential options? But overall, just general optimizations that we plan to do in the future should help like reduce that. But I probably recommend like doing various like calling methods and other stuff.
Can I chime in with a point too?
Yes.
Maybe it's not super feasible, but I've found that CPUs that have some of like that have more like the newer instruction sets on them tend to benefit way more from like the like .NET like vectorization, because it can take advantage of like, it will automatically try to take advantage of those new instruction sets in a lot of places in the .NET code. And so I found that like even like a consumer grade like desktop CPU, like a newer one, is better than most of like the server CPUs that like are out there, because they have the like they've got like AVX 512 and stuff. Like I've seen people try to run it on Xeons and whatever, and it doesn't run so good, even though those Xeons are supposed to be really good. But it does help to have more of those instruction sets available, so it can like vectorize more of the code.
I think Xeons are like designed very for like server-like workloads versus like the headless. It's kind of more like a game workload. So I think it kind of like makes a difference.
Yeah.
So the get a better CPU.
The X3D CPUs are really good for Resonite.
Next questions also from Addikshu. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. They're asking, do you have plans to introduce official microtransactions similar to VRChat, such as building a marketplace for buying avatars, maps, and items? So long term, yes, we would like to. We also essentially have like a workshop where you can find different items, avatars, materials, tools, pieces of UI, gadgets, entire worlds, pretty much like anything you want to publish on the platform. We want to have like a workshop where people can publish it and you can very easily find it, search it, browse by category, and so on. Then based on top of that, we want to add like a license system. So we can, for example, say this item or this like set of assets, this requires a license, that is like a paid license to use, and then have a system where you can purchase that license in game. There probably be two ways, like where you can some things you could prove that you own it from external thing, maybe have a key, maybe have the original file. You prove to the system like I own this thing, so it lets you use it. Or you can if you find the item in game and you're like I want to save this and it has paid assets, it'll be you need to purchase this license. So that's something we want to do, and it's actually something that will also I think long term help fund the platform quite a bit, because that's kind of where a lot of the a lot of funding will probably kind of come from, because people will be buying in-game content and supporting other creators, which will also help support the platform. And it kind of does this for other platforms Second Life, for example. That's one that has a big marketplace, and I think they're largely supported from income from that. There's number of challenges, for example finding the right payment processors for handling this, figuring out how do we take cut from it, because we'll need to have something so we can actually support the platform from it. But figure out percentage and other stuff. It's gonna be a whole thing. But yes, generally the long-term plan is to have a method of buying content directly in game. And then the last question from Discord is from computer user fake. A few days ago, I saw a Discord rich person say, "We are in a public session called How much Resonite link is too much Resonite link? Have you found an answer to that question, or are more Resonite link shenanigans required?" So I have two answers. First, more Resonite link shenanigans are always required. So it doesn't even matter, if we found an answer or not, have more Resonite link shenanigans. It's fun. To answer your question, let me just do a quick, make sure I get the number right. So the maximum, how much it would be too much Resonite link if you had 65,535 Resonite links, because if you reach that number, you've essentially run out of free ports that you can host the Resonite link on. And this is assuming you free every single port on your system. You only have Resonite link. If you try to have one more, you can't, because you can't have more, that many ports open. So the answer is 65,535. If it's less than that, you can make it work. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Unless you have a subnet.
It wouldn't work on the same. Actually, no. Wait, you could host on a Resonite link on more, but that's how much Resonite link is you can on a single computer.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, you can do more. If you have two IPs on the same computer, you can port forward to both of those IPs, and then you get double.
No, you can't, because it's not gonna fit. You would need to port forward it, but you don't have an open port that's already taken by another Resonite link.
Well, yeah, but if you port, you can broadcast to multiple IPs.
Yeah, but like this is how much you can have on a single, single computer.
Oh, to receive it. I see.
Yes.
I see. I see. Yeah. I get it.
It's that's the maximum. How you can cram in the session. So that's all the questions from Discord. We're gonna start going. Let's go through some questions from the Twitch. So the first one is from Check the Fox Author. They are asking, besides dynamic reflection, do you have any Resonite link feature ideas beyond dynamic reflection? Yes, so there's actually some from that's already kind of on the roadmap. One of them is going to support addition asset types, for example, animation assets, Gaussian splat, and so on. Then there's ideas for doing sort of more a high level stuff, sort of helper methods for common operations. Like one of the issues in the entity spawning, for example, for entity interfaces. We might want to add methods to be able to call certain sync methods. It was a little bit tricky for certain ones, but for a lot of them, I think it could be supported. Let me actually open up the Resonite link repo. So let's see. There is a section for roadmap. So there's more asset types, more data model types with the validation. Oh, and there's for example, screenshot capture API. So you can tell it, please render, render this from this viewpoint, and it's gonna send you a texture back. Or maybe maybe have a say you make an item, you bring it in, you want to capture a thumbnail, you tell it render thumbnail the same way inventory kind of does it. Another one would be you sending messages, so you can for example have a messaging system. If you want to have you press a button in the world, it sends a message to a Resonite link, you can react to it and can kind of integrate stuff. That would be another kind of cool feature. And then also just having some helper methods for some of the common stuff. I'm actually thinking, because I'm working on the Unity SDK, and it has a bunch of bindings generation where it actually generates the classes to kind of mirror the components. I'm actually thinking moving some of that into its own library, so it can be reused for lots of different SDKs, not just the Unity one. And the Unity one is just gonna plug its own Unity specific bits. Yeah, there's a little bunch of ideas. There's also some issues that still kind of have to look through. But yeah, it's definitely something it's gonna expand. But the reflection, that's the big one. Having some of the core things, just having good coverage for supporting data model stuff is currently the main goal. I was gonna skip the music ones. We already have those. Oh no, we got the Schnoppet from Grande K. Div Schnoppet.
I have a Schnoppet. I don't have any super bad. Well,
I'm looking at my list now.
I guess I have a small Schnoppet.
A small Schnoppet. A Schnoppetlet.
A Schnopplet.
Schnopplet.
I don't like that Python does not have extension methods.
Oh.
It's very annoying.
Oh no.
So, I did it in a very bad way. That I'm sure all of the Python people will hate me for because I'm very C# brain. I used this to do an extension method. So for all you Python people out there, I'm sure that you'll love that. Python is suffering, Jack. I'm sorry. And if I want to call a string to make it camel case, I can just, let me, sorry, I'm taking a long time. There, now I can do an extension method. Look at that. Crazy.
Oh. Yeah, that extension method's so the Python.
Yeah, that's using the matrix multiplication operator. You cannot do that to built-in types, Jack. Sorry.
Hmm.
That's my snippet.
I have like one snippet. Like I don't know if I've already talked about this one before. So like one of the things, one of our kind of philosophies, how do I make sure I actually mark this? So my snippet is like, I've kind of noticed like one of our philosophies is like, we want to have like very positive kind of community. We want to have like, we don't like talking bad about other platforms. And we generally like ask our community like please be polite. But there's like lots of people who play, they for example play both like Resonite and VRChat or Resonite and Chillout. They can play, people can like multiple things, and you want everyone to kind of like feel welcome. And also like it's even like if you look at it, I feel if you look at it from like a perspective, like you don't want to be like like, oh, that thing bad, and like be very like aggressive about it, because that's just gonna make people who use that like it's not gonna make them feel good, like, and I feel it's most likely to actually like use the platform. But there's been some platforms like which have been kind of like heavily like leaning into that kind of marketing, and what kind of sucks about it is like people end up like giving it a lot of attention, and it's kind of this kind of weird, I don't know how to even call it, like weird kind of like trade like with like social media and like things where for something's like controversial, something's kind of spicy, it gets a lot of attention, and by being sort of like nice about things, trying to like be like respectful and so on, that's it doesn't grab as much attention. So like it feels like it's a kind of bad position, like being spicy about things. That's kind of what helps things, and my snippet is that it's like that, like that like um, people tend to encourage that kind of like behavior by sort of interacting with it and promoting it, even if it's kind of negative. But like there's the saying like there's no such thing as bad press, because like it kind of gets it out there, and somebody's gonna be like, well, I'm gonna check it out and so on. And we really don't want to do that kind of like marketing, and we really won't do it. Like we want to kind of focus more on the positive vibes, but it is much, at least like that's my feeling, is like it feels that it's so much harder to do it that way. It's so much harder to do it right when it shouldn't be. And I wish like mid general kind of snippet is like like the people would what's the word? I kind of lost the train of thought. I don't like thought it's like the people would kind of like be more cognizant of this and be like like, I'm not like, if you see something like that, like not like, don't give it attention, because it's kind of like similar like like feeding the trolls, like like it's kind of what they want. They want like that kind of attention, and focus on like the good vibes and the positive vibes. And it's difficult, but like I feel it's something I would wish like was happening a lot more than it is. So I guess that's my snippet. Next question's from Bitcrack IGN. Bitcrack IGN is asking, are there any upcoming games you're excited for? Yes, there's like multiple. So one Actually, I don't even know which one to say first. So I'm really excited for Control Resonant. It's like a sequel to the Control game from Remedy Games, and I actually recently finished Alan Wake 2, including the DLCs, and like Control and Alan Wake, like they're like I really love like the style of the games. Like they feel very like they are made like it feels like they're made with love. Like they're like like, you can feel the passion for creativity and experimenting, and the games like they don't feel like some of the cookie cutter games where like they're not afraid to experiment with things with formula, and like it makes much more kind of compelling game and much more compelling universe. I've really enjoyed Control, like really enjoyed like Alan Wake 2, I love like the Remedy like games like things. And if you haven't seen the trailer for Control Resonant, like give it a watch. Like it's super cool because it also reminds me like a fair bit of like Doctor Strange and a little bit of like Inception stuff, but also like more horror-ish. Um, and it's like I love that kind of like vibe, like when things are kind of weird and very comprehensible. There's actually, speaking of like horror-ish, there's like another one um called Ontos. The trailer came out like I think December, or was it like that's like a month ago? Well, now technically 2 months ago. Recently, it's the new frictional game that's sort of a spiritual successor to Soma, which is a studio that's behind like the Amnesia games, which are like really good like atmospheric horror games. And Ontos in particular, um, from the trailer, it seems like it's like very kind of like mind reality kind of bending sort of horror story, like where the reality is kind of glitching, and it's like I love that kind of stuff. Like I really like Soma and Ontos, like it looks amazing. Um, Let me see. I'm just going to my wish list now because I have a bunch of them wish listed because there's like a few that I'm kind of excited about. These two like immediately like come to my mind. Oh, I'm definitely like they haven't like announced like super much, but I'm really also excited for the third like Horizon game because like I really like both like Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. They're like excellent games. Um, let's see. Ooh, there's another one that I saw trailer for that like looks super cool. It's called Supreme Experiment. And like it has like this like sort of otherworldly like vibe. It kind of has like there's a lot of like the feel of like Chinese kind of mythology like in the visual style of it. Like at least from what I can gather. That one I'm just kind of it looks like a really cool like universe that I kind of want to explore. That's another one that's like looks super cool. It's like 2D game. It looks amazing. It's like you know pixel art, but like it's super detailed pixel art with like lots of like kind of stacked effects. It like looks really cool. It's called Replaced. That's another game. Um, there's a few others, but those are definitely like kind of on my mind like right now. What about you, Sarah? The good Danny? Oh, you're kind of breaking up. Wait, is that me? Oh no, my connection's dying. Uh, oh, I think it's recovering. Nope. I'm not having technical issues. What is happening? I'm testing my connection right now. I don't know if you can hear me.
Am I on now?
Oh, I think it's recovering now. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, geez, my upload like got decimated, like for some reason. Hold on, give me a sec. I'm gonna check something.
Okay. Well, I guess I can do a little dance for you guys. Wow. Am I entertaining?
I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, the upload
Can
is
you,
like really struggling right now.
can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the stream seems to be having issues too.
Uh-oh.
Give us a second. Maybe it's just like a transitory thing. How can I hear us on the stream? Is it okay? Because it's like in the red, like on Twitch right now.
Yeah, can you see things okay, guys? Can you hear things okay? Oh, I see. Oh, looks like people are getting issues.
It's still in the red. It's trying to catch up. Hold on, I'm checking things. Oh, okay, hold on. I think I know what it might be. Maybe? No, it's not. Something's... Hold on, give me a second.
True. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I think I fixed it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Now it's recovering. I'm gonna give it a little bit. Okay. There we go. Okay. It's under green. Can you hear us fine?
Hello.
Hello. Sorry for that. My main PC decided to start a backup and just murder the connection.
Oh. Is it better now, guys?
It looks on the green in the thing.
Okay, that's good.
Can you hear us fine? But it was also the last thing you heard. I don't know like what came through. If you should like repeat the thing or no. Did you hear the games?
Yeah, did you hear Froox's games? Or did it start cutting out after that?
Wait, is it having...
It sounds like I feel
Are we still having
looks
issues
like
right now? Because people are reporting issues.
yeah, it looks like Jack says it got most of what you said anyways.
Okay.
So
You'll be able to check the recording anyways.
I was
Is
just
it...
saying that I'm kind of well.
I was just double checking. Are we good now? Are people still having issues? Okay, so seems it's fine. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, but to your question about what games I would be excited in, Froox, I'm kind of boring, I guess. I don't really play much video games. I used to play more. I used to play like Minecraft a lot. And I used to play like some like online Halo game or whatever, but I don't really play video games these days. I just don't have much interest in them. If I'm playing a video game, I kind of don't really feel like I'm, because like I derive a lot of my fun from like making things, and so making things is kind of like my quote unquote game of choice. Although I do like the stories of some of the games that come out, I don't know if I play them.
Hmm. Next question. Guernica is asking, can we get a channel point redeemed to waste points? We probably want to make them do something silly. Oh, I have like info. Oh, but it's because on the thing. Guernica is asking, response to headless server resources question Discord. Have tried running headless on all server hardware. It chokes and abruptly dies. Not memory related, I think CPU related, but effectively stops me from running headless because it will die on load. It depends what hardware you run. Like if it's like really old, maybe like it'll have issue. It also depends what you try to run because the workload will depend number of users, the complexity of the worlds and stuff. I've run like headless on Raspberry Pi 5, and that actually runs surprisingly well. So you can run on pretty like old hardware, but if it's like really old, then maybe not. But without like knowing what kind of hardware it is and what you're running, it's kind of hard to tell if that's what's supposed to happen or not. It might be just like it doesn't have enough resources, maybe it doesn't have enough RAM. It's weird that it dies on load though. Like usually CPU will just make it like slow, but it won't make it like die. Davidos is saying, Resonite is super cool. How did you come up with the idea of making it? So it's something we wanted to make for a long while actually. Like it's been like several years probably. The main goal for it is like we essentially wanted to have like Unity SDK because Unity SDK is something that people have been asking for a long while. Both like for people who kind of prefer that kind of workflow, and also for people who want to bring their existing content. They maybe have already stuff built in Unity, they want to bring it over, they want an easy way to do it. So that's been like an ask like for as long as I can remember at this point. But we actually, Froox engine, it had sort of Unity SDK. It was like from very early development versions, like where it essentially existed within Unity, but the method like doesn't work because we now have the splitting, and eventually we're actually gonna remove Unity as our renderer. We're gonna like have our own. But even with Unity, like us not using Unity at all for the engine itself, there's still a huge benefit, having SDK for Unity because it's what a lot of people use and there's a lot of kind of content. So we need some way to bring the content in. But Eddie was also like, we don't want it to be like whenever we look at problems and we're solving features, we want to do it in the most general way we can, where it's something that can be expanded, and we don't want to be locked to just Unity because there's also other engines, and there might be benefit having SDK for the Godot engine or maybe Unreal Engine, like or other tools like Blender, where you might want to like use those to build some content and make a easy way to bring it in. So to solve that problem, we essentially need like some way for the external applications to sort of build, modify the data model externally without needing to embed like the entire Froox engine in it. Which, for example, in case of Unity, they even wouldn't be able to do anymore because we switched to like modern.NET and Unity is behind. So it like Unity wouldn't actually even be able to run the latest versions of Froox engine. Meaning like we cannot embed it there and like it cannot run. So we need some sort of like protocol that's like easy to implement and easy to kind of support that this SDK is going to be built on. And it is essentially to separate those problems, have the protocol that lets you manipulate the data model, have that be it's focused specifically on that. It doesn't that's pretty much like its main kind of goal, and then you build more stuff on top of it. So the Unity SDK is like an official application we built that serves both like as a tool we provide to our users, but also because it is made open source, you can use it to expand it, or like use it as a reference, for making your own tools. And it's pretty much, kind of how it came to be. Like, we wanted to be like open, something that is extensible by the community, because there's lots of different applications. And even like, Resonite Link kind of goes beyond the SDK. You can, there's like integrations with different languages, like, like Python, Go, I think there's like Rust one. So you can take existing code in those languages and use it to bring content over here. I remember like Jack was actually talking about like, there's like graph plotting libraries for Python, and we could like make like integration with Resonite Link and just like use Resonite as the visualization tool for those. So there's like use case that's not really like the Unity SDK, but still as you bring content in, and it's a completely different application, and all made possible thanks to like Resonite Link being a very general system. So that's pretty much kind of it. Like it was meant to kind of solve that problem and make it like provide an abstraction layer and make it very generalized. To both like support another official feature or official tool, but also allow for lots of other like community tools and applications. It's also one more thing I'm gonna say about it. It is modeled heavily about how the data model actually works, which simplified its development significantly, because it just kind of like copies those kind of interactions, which makes it much easier, to actually have it as a functioning thing, because it is not like adding crazy amount of new stuff. It's just sort of exposing stuff that's already in the engine. Next question's from Grandy K. Grandy K is asking, how well does a modern Raspberry Pi run headless? This is actually pretty well. Like, we've like run like a session on Raspberry Pi 5, and we were like, I think like, sorry, we were there, right? Like I remember, like we're like messing around with it, and like we're like shooting particles, with collisions in the world. Like on its own, like without like with just like 2 users in the world, it was running something like over. The headless was on the Pi was running something like 450 ticks. And then like started shooting these particles, and like the headless was also simulating the collision, and it was still running over like 120 frames. Like it was pretty crazy. And then a bunch of people joined, like started like messing around. And I think with like 10 people, it was still running like something like 70 FPS. It was pretty cool. Like the modern Raspberry Pi, the CPU is more powerful than they would expect.
Oh yeah. Gotta love that. Those ARM SIMD extensions probably helps a bit.
Then Modern has spawned like a 10,000 like capsules, like with the character controller, and it exploded and the Pi exploded. Not literally, but the headless did. Next question's from Zewek. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Are there plans for Resonite Link to have sustainable user management system? I don't know what that means. Do you mean like managing users in the session? Like what exactly like about the users do you want to manage? Like is it like, do you want to like handle like, for example, kicking the users from the session, like assigning them roles or something like that? It is possible. We can add those kind of features. But that's not like the primary goal right now, but like we can kind of expand it to like let you do like that kind of user management too, if you have the permissions to do so. But yeah, like would probably need a little bit more elaboration, like because I don't know like what do you mean by sustainable, and I don't know like user management system. That almost sounds like more like some kind of web portal where you're like managing registered users or something. So like I'm not sure I'm kind of understanding right what you're asking. Check the Fox is asking, how much Python is too much Python? If you're on Python 2, then 3. If you're on Python 3, then 4.
If you're on Python 2, give it the times, Grandpa.
But the 3 is too much. Like, it's almost like Valve.
I think any Python is too much Python, but I'm using it for some reason anyways. I don't know, because I'm like masochistic or something.
What about if it's like little Python, like little Pythonlet?
A little like what, like a corn snake?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like what I'm doing. I'm just doing a little bit. I'm basically using it because it is handy for interacting with like JSON because of how mushy the language is. It's very easy to serialize. Like you can just make a class and serialize it to JSON in like 3 seconds. It's very easy.
Actually, one thing I'm surprised by is like you don't like Python, but you like Lua.
Because Lua is like, it actually has like,
It's baby Python.
you know, it has like, you know, delimiters and stuff for like, you know, the functions, and it actually has like proper syntax and doesn't use white space and shit. And also like, I mean, it's a dead simple language. Like there's not a lot of gotchas with Lua.
I would say like it being simple, there's more gotchas.
I don't know. At least it runs on other computers.
just think of Lua. No, think of Python as a bigger Lua.
Worse Lua, got it. At least my Lua code runs on any other computer I put it on.
Well, now we can get the next question. Zewek is asking, will Resonite link have some encryption authentication? In general, like you meant to kind of run it just locally, so like which kind of defeats the point. Maybe if it was like, you know, if you're exposing it to like public, like it could, but like I wouldn't recommend doing that. Like I don't like see it like so much like a use case for it, because like you generally meant to just like it, like, you know, run it locally or like your local network. At a point, like, you know, it's just like if you're running something locally, like then you shouldn't really need it, because like, you know, like there's no like external services kind of going to it. Maybe for use case if you wanted to expose it, like, you know, like to like like on a public IP, and then like you wanted to connect remotely from somewhere else. But there's also like I don't know if there's like what would be like practical uses for that kind of use case. So right now there's not really plans for that. We're just kind of like, you know, making sure it's kind of used like for like kind of local tools. And last question we got right now is from Jagged Fox Otter. Question to Sire: what's your favorite Python feature?
Okay. If you like want like a serious answer and not me just like soy jacking that I don't like Python, I would say the fact that it's very easy to make something that serializes into JSON, because you can literally just like make a class and then just call like json.dumps, and it will just dump the class as like key value pairs and stuff, which is very handy. I will follow it up and say that I find customizing the JSON serialization to be extremely annoying. Like if I don't want to serialize certain fields, I have to make my own like converter class for it to use to filter out the fields I don't want. Because I really don't want to touch those bigger JSON libraries, because I don't really need that level of complexity in my project. Also, I don't like the fact that there's no extension methods, and I don't like the fact that making properties is a pain in the butt. But yeah, I do like that it's easy to put things in JSON. Don't like how hard it is to customize it. So, bittersweet.
With that, that's actually all the questions we got from Twitch right now. So if you still want to like ask any questions, you get like time, feel free to ask. We might use the opportunity to kind of look at some of the community posts. So let me have a look. So for those of you who don't know, we've kind of started doing this thing where we just kind of look at like, you know, some posts from Blue Sky right now. It's like want to like have more tooling for actually presenting them, but right now we just kind of screenshot and paste them in. But I want to kind of share like some of the cool stuff that the community is doing, and just kind of promote like things. And the first one is actually I'm actually gonna retweet this. The first post is from Jack the Froox, which is related to Resonite link. So let me put it on the camera. Sorry, that's kind of tilted a little bit. So Jack is showing this mesh was generated in Python. Robot to Cyrus dismay. An important Resonite using my Resonite link wrapper without any file handling. It's pretty bit stored over Blender SDK. I plan on building on top of this. If you're curious, there's example code generated at link. That's pretty cool. It's one of the things I'm kind of excited for is, just I love procedural generation and being able to do it from other languages and just kind of make content with those. To me, that's very kind of satisfying. And look, it generated this wavy graph turn thing. You can make geometry with Python.
You can make geometry.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna leave it on while I look for the next one. Another post. This one has a video, so I'm gonna bring it over. So this is the post, and I'll bring the video in a second. So this is post from Lake Tomazot. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. They have some avatar, Fancy Dragon, set up with Resonite with face tracking. And the video's showcasing... It's showcasing, the face tracking, so let's have a look. So I'm gonna put this here, I'm gonna play it. Look at the face tracking. It was pupils. And you can wiggle the snoot. Oh, that's actually cute, how the snoot kind of goes up and down and left and right. That is very cute. It looks pretty cool. I haven't seen this avatar base before. Another post we got is from Okino-san. From the Japanese community. It looks like they published a world. They've been making a train world. Let me actually hit translate so I can read what it says. Oh, it's actually has translation built in. Published a world, operations drawing Japanese town scenery. That's pretty cool. So I guess we can check out this world. It should be in the published worlds, and if you like trains or Japanese scenery, definitely check it out. Let's see. Oh, this is this one's is it weird to bring my own post? This one's from me. It's actually from devlog as well. And it's a little bit curious, so with the Resonite link, I've been working in the Reflection API, and to actually iterate on it, because it has quite a bit of moving parts, and to refine it, I've been making the part of the Unity SDK to generate bindings, and it actually can generate bindings for the components now, and the non-generic ones, they show in Unity now. So that's the proxies for the components in the Unity editor, which is kind of cursed weirdly, but it works. I do actually have a little additional snippet that I kind of forgot about. Actually, let me show you a few more things too. So it also generates bindings for the fields. It doesn't do references, still kind of working on those, but you also get this is the overarching avatar in Unity. It generates proxies for all the fields just from the Reflection API. So it doesn't even need to touch Resonite code. Or for example, here, like here's it also generates bindings like proxies for the enums. So if anything has enum, that will actually show up. So stuff like this. So like you get like, for example, there's the avatar assigner. It's just gonna pick because it has the body node, and like you click it open, it actually has all the values for that too. And it's literally just generated purely from code, just over Resonite link reflection API. And it's kind of weird just, seeing that, like, inside of Unity, because it's kind of like almost kind of like full circle, like where we move away from Unity, but then like we send its stuff over this like narrow channel so it can kind of generate proxies and communicate, but like the stuff doesn't really exist in there anymore. It just kind of gets like ghosts of those things. There's another one like auto lookout user, and like you get also like because with the reflection API for Resonite link, you get like the categories, so we can actually just categorize them too. So it kind of matches the categories. But I do have a small snippet with this. And I kind of forgot about this because like I haven't actually properly worked in Unity in a while, because like I'm just gonna work on Resonite, and we're just using it as a render, which is like where we don't actually work with the Unity editor because we're just kind of like we're puppeteering it. Unity doesn't support generic components like in the editor. Like you can't add them, they just don't show up because it doesn't have like a way to like specify the type that you want to instantiate. And it's one of the things I implemented for Resonite for our system because it's very, very powerful. You can attach like components with generic parameters, and it just doesn't support it. So we'll have to like figure out some solution for that. We're probably gonna do like right now is like if people like want to like use those components to kind of build stuff, you should be able to attach them from code, but we'll probably just generate like bindings for the common generic types for some of them that they specify. But this might like require some clever solutions maybe, or maybe they'll just be usable only from like the converter code, where the code attaches them, and at which point it should work. But like if you want to attach them like this in the editor, like right now, that won't work because Unity just doesn't support generic components. Ooh, and another one, this one actually I do want to showcase the video too. In case you missed it, earlier today, the 2026 Metaverse Maker competition has started. There's been like the opening ceremony. It was like super cool. And there's probably a bunch of people like who started work on their MMC entries right now. I think I saw like in the session list. This is very, very exciting because like MMC is like every year, like it's like I always look forward to it because it's like some of the best content on Resonite gets made like during MMC. And during March, I pretty much like spend a lot of time, going through literally all of the entries. I always like make me go, I want to go through all the entries. At some point, it probably won't be possible like to do in time, but like right now, I'm still able to do it. So I'm kind of very excited like what people make, and I do want to showcase the trailer, which showcases some stuff from the previous year MMC, and it's like super cool trailer. I'm gonna go for broadcast audio for this one. Give it a second to load. Come on. It's taking a second. There we go. So I'm gonna put it here. There we go. You guys ready? I'm gonna play it.
Be part of something bigger than yourself at the Metaverse Maker competition. Create anything you can imagine, from the smallest of ideas to massive, elaborate worlds. Choose a category and win prizes. On your own or with friends, join us this February for the Metaverse Maker Competition 2026.
super court player. It's almost like Orange does video professionally. But I'm very excited for MMC. Like, people will be making lots of cool things. Like, I'm very looking forward to like March when I start like going through all of it. I usually try to stay like, don't get spoiled too much. So like I tell people like, don't really tell me what you're making. Like, I kind of wanna like, I like going into the entries blind. Because that's like kind of part of like, you know, like when you're kind of judging them and kind of figuring out like, you know, the entry, you want to see how the entry stands on itself. Like if somebody who has no idea about what an entry is, you get into it, you want to be like, can I figure this out just from what entry presents? So if I have like, you know, some sort of like advanced knowledge of like, you know, like this is like what this is, what do you do, that tends to spoil it a bit. So I really try to avoid it. But then during March, you're just gonna dive in and like start like looking through like all of them. There's also like one thing I really hope like people will have like, you know, lots of fun like making things. But also like one advice I generally give to people as well is like, you know, whenever you're building something with like, you know, very tight like time constraint, like, you know, the MMC, because it runs during February. Make sure you have like a functioning version as soon as possible. Like ideally like the first week, like by the first week, or like your entry can be kind of, you know, if it's a game, can be played, you know, from start to finish. And then spend the rest of time expanding it, polishing it, adding more stuff. But you want to make sure it can be, you know, completed start to finish as early as possible. Because like once you have that, you have the confidence, this is a fully functional entry, and it's like, you know, just polish and expanding. Because one thing that we notice kind of happens is, you know, people tend to like overscope a fair bit. And then like oftentimes like, you know, there's teams who are kind of scrambling to like make it functional, like literally like the day or two before the competition ends. And there's actually been some entries which like look very promising, but like end up like not winning anything because they were just broken. So my like big recommendation is like make sure it works as early as possible in the competition. It's also gonna give you, you know, a little bit more calm, because you then know, that like, you know, like whenever you run out of time, it is functioning. You don't have to scramble for it. But yeah, I'm very excited for MMC.
Me too.
They also got quite a bit of like sponsorship. It was like something like over like $22,000 that was like raised, like thanks to our community. And like half of that is going to the prizes. So there's like there's multiple categories. I think there's 13. There might be a few more for you less. I don't remember the exact number. Check out the MMC channel on our Discord. Check out like, you know, the post. Let me actually bring this in so you can see the links. Make sure to like, you know, check out the posts. But there's like multiple categories, each for like with like a prize that you can win. So if you think about it, like, you know, like if you like creating stuff in VR, like this is excellent time to do it, because you get to participate in like this like, you know, super cool competition. And even like oftentimes, like even if you don't win anything, like oftentimes like the biggest thing you actually get from this is you know, the new skills that you get, you know, like, and stuff you kind of learn as you kind of work on the entries. And it's something, you know, that stays with you forever, like, you know. Let's see if we got more. Ooh, there's another post. It seems another avatar. I'm gonna bring the video and like I'm gonna take a screenshot of the post. I don't want to get like the embed like working, so I don't have to like do it. I can just kind of copy it. And this is kind of goofy screenshot. It's another from like Tomato. Is there a purple face track purple? It looks like they made avatar with face tracking. Another one. And I'm gonna bring the video so you can see it in action. get it snoot. Ow! Oops.
I can't wait
It's
till
very-
more people get face and eye tracking.
Yes, it's very cute.
I feel like it's gonna happen again. Like, remember like a few years ago when like everybody was getting like a Vive Pro Eye because of the eye tracking,
Yeah.
and like, because like you had one for the longest time, and then like a bunch of like our friends got one, myself included, and it was like this renaissance of people like who were like, oh my god, it's like so much more expressive in here now. And
Yes.
since there haven't been really many good eye tracking headsets after that, that's kind of like fallen off. And it will be really cool to see that happen again with the Steam
Yeah.
frame.
It adds like so much, like the interactions just kind of feel like a little more kind of natural, like, you know, when you're like talking with people, because there's like always like one thing I find like when people like use puppeteering, just like people who are really good at it, but oftentimes like, you know, like with expression, it feels like very like the expressions feel very unnaturally twitchy. It's just like, you know, it's like jumping between extremes of different expressions, and it just kind of like to me at least, like to my brain, is like a little bit uncanny. But when somebody has like, you know, face tracking and eye tracking, it tends to feel more natural, because like, you know, it's not just like kind of on off, you know, just kind of jumping, but you kind of get like, you know, more complex blend, and you get like, you know, micro expressions and like think, and you get expressions where people don't even think about making expressions. Like one of the coolest things that happened to me when I started using face tracking myself is like when somebody told me they like to see me smile, and I didn't realize I'm smiling at something, and I was like, oh, they can tell that, you know, like. And I remember with eye tracking, like I remember like one, like literally like when I got the headset and when I first got it implemented, like I fell asleep in VR, and people were like, oh, like you know, you fell asleep, and then like they like took pictures of me, and then like I woke up and I was like, oh, and they put like, you know, blankets, you know, and everything, and it was like, well, now people can tell, like, you know, if you're tired and if you're like sleeping because your eyes, you know, like not open. So it's it just has like, you know, level of expressivity that you don't get, like, you know, with the puppeteering, especially like a lot of unconscious kind of expressions, but also even just the conscious ones, like there's more subtlety to it.
Yeah, especially when the eye tracking is like really comprehensive, and
Yeah,
because like the Vive Pro Eye, and I know it's an old headset. I wish they still made it. It still has probably the best eye tracking in a consumer headset I've seen.
yeah,
Because the other headsets that do include like the Tobii eye tracking, they don't do like the analog, like I can half lid my eyes blinking. They do like the binary blinking, and they don't do the widening, and they don't do the pupil dilation.
yeah,
And those are like the three other things along with the gaze that make the eye tracking look great.
yeah. I'm really curious, like, how it's gonna work on the Steam frame. I mean, it's Valve, so like I do have like a good amount of trust in what they do.
I want pupil dilation back, man. I miss it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've got like another one. We've also got like some questions piling in, so we're gonna go back to questions in a second. But I wanted to bring another post from Duff. This is not like one person Resonite, but like but it's a Resonite hashtag, so like, you know, can show it. Duff has made textures for someone, and they're kind of yellow. More yellow beans. We need more yellow. I thought this is kind of like more like vanilla yellow. And Dev makes like really good textures. He actually did like textures for my avatar too. Like this is like texture by Dev. And he did yours, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dev has like texture like half our community.
Yeah, very good. Very shout out to Duff. Does very good textures.
Yes. That's part of the reason I wanted to like bring this in, you know, just kind of give him a shout out. He's a very good bean. I think I think I'm gonna be good on the social stuff for now. Because we got like a few questions piled up, so we can kind of go back to this. Oh my god, we got so many questions from so many cutie questions. Glitch first asking, since the Resonite link is based on WebSockets, would you consider a similar technique for a potential headless API, or would it be different? Actually, yes. I've been kind of like thinking about like, making it so if you run on headless, you could like use like either Resonite link or like, additional kind of API that's more for like headless commanding. Because there's like some overlap, and I've been thinking like, what would be the best protocol, to use for the Resonite, for the headless API to kind of control it. And I think like WebSocket might kind of be just the best because like it's very, especially WebSocket plus JSON, because it's very widely supported. Like, so like it should be very easy to kind of start it. Like sorry, we got it like working within Gary's mod. So I think that might be the best one. It's most just in figuring out what the API is gonna be like and so on. I don't know if it would like wrap it fully into Resonite link. Like if it's like better kind of keep separated. Because Resonite link kind of provides, like you kind of might want to have these things more isolated, but we'd probably use like similar approach. So we'll have to figure it out. But yeah, definitely there's like some overlap, and some of the stuff with the Resonite link that kind of helps solidify some of the choices for the headless like API. And I think like just keeping it similar would make sense. Like you could even like use that API to like, tell the headless like open Resonite link on this port and then connect to it and do other stuff. Or maybe like just do incorporate it like where there's. I thought it might make some things kind of weird because like you like. I don't know. It requires a little bit more thinking. Glitch first asking, what is your opinion of anchor products? So my opinion of anchor products is that every single piece of anchor product that somebody owns triples their cuteness.
Damn. All you anchor owners out there, square up.
Especially Glitch because he got like their entire stock.
I'll buy your entire stock.
Glitch first also asking, how's your Linux transition going? It hasn't been like recently, like I haven't actually did back into it because I've been kind of working on stuff and so on. It's kind of like one of my blockers is like, I need to like be able to work on stuff. One thing that I really need is for the Vive Pro Eye to work, kind of just mostly out of the box with eye tracking. If that works out of the box, or like just nearly out of the box, like I don't need to like do like crazy like driver kernel patching like compilation thing like that, like I feel that would be like kind of the domino block that would kind of get me to actually fully commit, because like it's kind of what I use for eye tracking. So once I can be fully in VR, I don't really have much reason to like boot into Windows. I do have like some dependency on Visual Studio because I'm using Visual Studio for development. I would have to switch to Rider, which means I would have to kind of start paying. But like at this point, I'm kind of willing to do that. But like I need like other things to kind of be in place for it to work. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I really want to make the switch. This is the one thing that's kind of blocking me. Well, I will still have to figure out like some other things, like for example, like I do use like some of the Adobe stuff, but actually I think somebody got to work recently.
Yeah, someone had made a big leap in getting the Creative Cloud to actually install properly under Wine. I think some of the apps are still a little scrungly, but this is still a huge leap into getting it to run at all. If
I do want to get rid of Adobe like altogether too. So like,
yeah. I want to actually. So I've been kind of struggling with this on my own, and I haven't really asked anybody for help with it. I did manage to get. So it is possible these days to get Serenapal to actually install and launch in Wine. it launches to the point where like it will even send the correct commands to turn on like the iChip, but the USB driver for wine is just incomplete enough to where it doesn't seem to report like either like the serial number or like the device name correctly. If so, I'm going to put out a request. If you guys have time or the willingness, try installing Serenipal, and if you get it to work, let me know. And I will be forever. I will be. You'll have my never-ending gratitude, and also Froox's never-ending gratitude,
Yes.
because I would like my Pro Eye to have one more shot in the limelight before the Steam frame comes out. So if anybody's techie out there, and you know how to maybe fix that, let me know.
Yeah, that, like if
Thing.
that just works out of the box, like, you know, it'll be like that'll be like, for me that would be like the big domino piece to kind of like, you know, be able to transition, because
Yeah,
like I don't really want to be without eye tracking, so it's kind of like, you know, it's still like right now that's like a thing that like I don't see resolvable on my end. Like, you know, if I wanted to like make the, well, I do want to make the switch, but if I retro switch, so once that's kind of solved, like, you know, I feel the other stuff like I can figure it out. This is the one thing like where I'm like, I don't really have the time and resources to, you know, make this work myself.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to make the switch, because it's kind of, the nose is getting very, very painful, and it feels it's getting worse with every update. And the direction, like, you know, even the one they publicly talk about, it's not really giving much confidence in it.
Yeah. I will say it's just one last point. It seems to just be the fact that they can't find the iChip. The rest of Serenipal seems to work perfectly fine. It even detects my GPU as an OpenCL device. So it's not actually that much standing in the way. I'm just not versed in that in the Wine USB drivers. But if you can flick that one last thing out of the way, it should work just fine. So
yeah,
praying emoji, sending out a request for help.
I would definitely love to like fully switch. It's also feels kind of exciting. It's like, you know, something new kind of to play with, which kind of feels refreshing. The next one, Glitchford is asking, when will Sire admit his mistake and embrace Python? I don't think you'll have much luck with that.
You will not see me admit any sort of mistake to the day I'm fucking rotting in the ground. Sorry. The only reason I'm poking with Python right now is out of just morbid curiosity, and also because I like injecting my filthy C# ways into it and being all on Pythonic or whatever. I think it's funny.
What if you rename Python to Lua 7 and just sneak
it's
it
not
to you?
Lua. It's
Lua
completely
7.
different than Lua.
Just label it.
It's so much worse than Lua. I enjoy giving other people pain.
He's also asking, how many questions is too many questions? 7 billion. Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Grand UK is asking, how many shapes do you think is too much? Depends like what too much, what for? Is it like, you know, if it's like for efficient GPU rendering, then probably 2, because triangles are super efficient. If it's to like make cool art, then there's probably not a limit. If it's like some certain amounts of geometry, then it's gonna be there's only so many kind of like, you know, basic shapes that will like, you know, tile and have certain properties. So it kind of depends. Can always have more shapes. Computers are asking, would you be able to elaborate on the things aren't in motion? You have mentioned the glitch for, it's fine if it's a personal thing, don't feel discussing public platform. Yeah, it's just kind of sort of like in joke. For like this Christmas, I've got like I literally bought every single game Glitch had on his wish list, and I scheduled them to like be delivered like roughly 4 hours apart, and I would like go to him and be like, things are in motion, and then like he would like eventually would notice like see the game, and he'd be like wait, like did I got him game, and I would be things are still in motion, and then like another game like a few hours later, he would be freaking out and it would be very cute, and then like at the end of the day like we're getting to sleep, and I'm like things are still in motion. He's freaking out. So like it's just a thing. It's like a way to tease when something's coming. I don't know. I don't know what this is for. Is this for the shapes thing, or just a request? If you're posting correction, just post the corrected question, because there's other things in the meanwhile, so we're not like 100% sure. I mean, it kind of depends. If it's for the blend shapes, how many blend shapes are too many blend shapes, then I mean, it's one of those things that depends. What are you making? I always like give the general advice is like use the least amount of whatever stuff that still achieves your goal. And it can depend, because like if it's an avatar, then like so you're building an avatar, you maybe want lots of blend shapes for lots of customization, but maybe you want to bake them, to like reduce reduce the overload. But there's not gonna be like any sort of like magical number that's like threshold where it's suddenly too much. It's like every single blend shape that's added is essentially additional memory use, because it needs to kind of have like all the blend shape data. So like every single blend shape will increase the load on the system, and if you're like animating a blend shape, it needs to also compute it. So like the more you're computing, the more CPU you're taking, and every single blend shape is gonna use a little bit more. So it's like it depends. Like if you have blend shapes you don't use at all, you want to bake those. So like they're like if they're not changing and you're never gonna change them, bake them. That way you reduce the actual like load on the system. You reduce the memory usage and potentially reduce like some of the CPU, and GPU kind of usage. But again, there's not gonna be magical number. If you're building something and it has lots of animations and you need those animations for the thing you're building, then you need that many, like to kind of achieve your goal. I would say, too many are like when you have more than like you actually need and use. Grinik is asking, can you add an option to Resonite to deny no localhost connections? You probably could, like there might be good like a GitHub request. Next question's from Burrock. If Resonite link use WebSocket and headless API, use this too, would you consider use more WebSocket protocol for the cloud API? It already does. That's what SignalR uses. SignalR is like actually SignalR has multiple transporters, but it will generally prefer to use WebSocket because it allows instead like full duplex communication. So for example, when you're sending messages, when you're getting statuses, that's already happening over WebSocket. For most cases, it has like fallback, like for example using HTTP like long polling. So for connections where WebSocket doesn't work, it will kind of fall back on those, which mostly kind of affects like certain networks, like some business networks. But in like over 90% of cases, it's going to be using WebSocket. Kyle Wolps is asking, I wonder, do you guys find it ironic that there are Linux users who use C#? I find it a bit funny because a lot of Linux users like me hate Microsoft. However, I haven't found language that beats C#. I don't actually find it too funny. Not in a way, like, it kind of makes sense to me, especially with the stuff that kind of happened. Because one, there was the big, there is the big project called Mono, which existed for decades at this point, which was essentially an open source implementation of the language. So there's already kind of big kind of Linux community push for making this language usable for lots of different platforms. And then don't remember how long ago it was. Like Microsoft essentially, they bought Mono and they used some of the code and then made the .NET Core, which is then just renamed to .NET, and they made it fully open source under MIT license. You can pretty much just use it, fork it, do stuff with it, and they made it very also community, like they're getting lots of contributions. So the way I kind of look at it is like, like the way I also look at companies is, like a big company, it's like, like a big city. And you're gonna have like lots of people and lots of, smaller kind of businesses within that city. And there's gonna be, powers that are like awful and they do like horrible stuff, the same way like you can have like businesses with bad practices, maybe you have like, some sketchy like neighborhoods and stuff like that. And you have like, some that are like really awesome. And I think in particular the .NET team, and the C# team, they're probably the best part of Microsoft and the best thing to come out of Microsoft. Also for the part, like, that they actually made it very open, and community based, like with pretty much no strings attached. So I think like, that speaks like both like to the quality of the language, like it's a really good language. But also I would say like, nowadays it is a thing that came out of Microsoft, but also like, I don't think like because Microsoft definitely does like, stuff that's kind of but it doesn't mean every single thing has to be, every single thing has to be painted by like, by the same brush. There's like, a lot of like really good people working at Microsoft making really good stuff, and for C# and .NET, there's actually a story I remember also like reading, for people who are like on the .NET and C# team, is they wanted to open source like C# like for a long while, but during the Ballmer era, like that wasn't really a thing they could like push because the company culture wasn't like accepting of that. They however did a little bit where they open sourced the compiler, the Roslyn compiler, and it was their first kind of like push towards that. And then like when Microsoft changed leadership, it kind of became more open, it kind of became more cloud focused, and they managed to like push this through, like make .NET actually be, and C# be a thing that's like fully open, very permissively licensed, with lots of kind of community contributions. So I think that should stand on its own merits regardless of like other stuff that Microsoft does as a company. And like you just evaluate based on that, and I think that's kind of healthy. And it's kind of good because like it is now essentially C# is like a big open source project, and it is a really good language. And yeah, I'm kind of rambling about this at this point, I think.
I mean, oh,
There you go.
I don't think it's all that weird. Mostly for the same reasons that Froox stated. I mean, I've been using C# on Linux for like years now at this point, and so it just kind of feels natural to me. I think Microsoft knows that if they screw up C#, a lot of people will be very mad at them and they will lose a lot of money. So I think that's probably the one thing they won't screw up too bad. And also, it's public and open source in MIT, so if they screw it up, we'll just make a new one with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, I don't think they could, like, even if they wanted to, like, people, like, if they, like, did something really bad with it, like, I feel like there would be, like, a big push to kind of, like, fork it. Which is, like, one of the things that kind of gives confidence, just the fact that it's published under MIT, like, it's really good. Oops. Trepanator is asking, does anyone working on Resonite have a Steam frame? If yes, thoughts? Unfortunately not. We haven't been able to get a dev kit.
We were maybe within like proximity of when we were walking around like Seattle.
Yeah, we was in Seattle, we're like at our WoW headquarters, but like no, we applied for a dev kit, like we haven't unfortunately heard back, so Next question's from Granuke. Avatar I have is over 400 and it takes ages to load. Well, there's an answer pretty much. Like that's probably too many. The question is, are you using all 400 blend shapes? If not, like you can bake them, have like a lot less, and it'll be faster to load. But again, like there's not a magical, number. Like all of this kind of has like kind of linear like relationship. Say it takes 30 seconds to load 400 blend shapes. It's probably less, I think, than that. But say like it takes 30 seconds to load 400 blend shapes. If you cut it to 200, then it loads, in 15 seconds. If you cut it to 100, it's gonna load in like 7.5 seconds. If you cut it to 50, it's gonna load like in. I can't do that in my head. It's gonna be 3.5 plus 3.75 seconds. Cut it in half, it's gonna load in like 2-something seconds. So like it's a thing that kind of scales. There's not like a magical number where like you cross the number and suddenly instead of taking 1 second to load, it takes 30 seconds to load. It scales with the amount of stuff you're loading. So if you can reduce it, the more you reduce it, the faster it'll load, the less memory it'll use. Black Parrot is asking, can we selectively break blend shapes? Some on all of my avatars I know I'm never going to touch, but others might need for future expressions. Yes, you can. So like there's like a blend shape baking options. Any blend shapes that are like referenced, for example, like driven from things, the system will not bake, but any that are just kind of sitting there, like like have anything driving them, those get baked. Alex TPI, we need Gloopy badge for Twitch subs. That'd be cool. Have like icons. Granik is asking, when blend shapes are baked, if you reroute the unbaked blend shape mesh back, anything driving will either break or be driving from blend shape. Is this broken behavior or unintended? That is kind of neither. It's not broken behavior. It's not quite intended for it to happen, but like it's something that essentially just happens because like we just kind of swap the mesh without remapping the stuff. So if you want to like do that swap, you have to like use a tool that will remap the blend shapes. It'll like look at like the names of the blend shapes and then remap everything based on that. Otherwise, like it's just like because the blend shapes like they're driven, based on like their position in the mesh, like their index. So like if you just swap the mesh to a different one, now those indexes don't match with the previous ones. So you need to like it needs to remap the indexes of them. And like the rig transfer tool should do it, but also it tries to like remap bones. We might have like some other tools that could like help with this. One thing I do recommend probably for that is to like have a edit version of your avatar. There's like the sort of like the master, like like where you have like everything unbaked and edited. And if you're like making changes, like make it a version and then bake it down. Granuke is asking, if someone made Factorio in Resonite, would Froox be at risk of being addicted to making the factory grow? I don't really play those kind of games too much. They don't tend to like hook me as much. I remember I probably like played like a fair bit, but probably not. I usually go like for more kind of like action games. Oop. Oh no, my tracker's freaking out. And let's see how much time we have. It's about 20 minutes, so feel free to ask more questions. Computer users asking, sorry if this isn't the right place to ask, but do you have any good resources on modding Resonite? I know the modding Discord, but as Michael Reeve says, that's social interaction. I don't support it. Not being 100% serious about the last point, it's the good options when asking people modding Discord. It's actually a good one for Syra because do a bunch of modding.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, like the modding Discord is gonna be like your best bet. If you're just starting with modding, I would highly recommend just starting with stock RML. Just because it's the simplest. Like there's not really many gotchas. You just kind of download it and you make a mod and it works. So I would recommend following that one first because that's going to be the most straightforward. You could probably find that on the Resonite mod loader GitHub. While we don't like support mods like officially, I mean I kind of learned how to make like how to do C# from modding, so I personally am always like for helping people do it, and also like turns out modding is actually a great way to keep a healthy creator community alive. So that's a bonus.
A lot of games. And another question from Kyle Volps. Why is it that when I bake my blend shapes, turn them to bones, the copy I also have in the world times get messed up? I find it odd, like why doesn't there create a copy of mesh before doing that? That is actually weird because normally it'll make a copy. It might be like how you have it like structured. We have like if you're modifying like the shared asset, that might like cause that weirdness, but like I don't really have enough information to answer this. Like usually, like if you run it through a scheme mesh render, it should just like make like a new mesh, but it might just be updated. Like I don't know. Like I don't have enough like how like where I'd probably look like where you're running the baking from, because like some of the options like you run on the mesh itself, but it's better to run it through the skin mesh render because the skin mesh render knows where stuff is, so it's gonna like update those. But if you run it on the mesh itself, then like it doesn't know where it's used, so that can like end up like making things weird. If there's like something like where the meshes are sharing the same asset, like that might end up like causing that. Oop. Oh no. Why is my tracker being weird? That's all the questions we have now. So if you guys still want to ask more questions, we've got a little bit of time. Otherwise, I can bring some more stuff from the social media. So let me have a look. I'm gonna do hashtag Resonite. Let's see. Do we have any kind of cool stuff? Oh, there's a cool post, another from the Japanese community, I think. Yeah, there's a Japanese. That they had like a meetup. This one I definitely need to translate. They posted some cool screenshots, so I'm gonna show it off. Guys, compensate for the, there we go. For the tilt. They got some cool screenshots, and let me see if I can translate. There we go. So it says every Friday is Resonite Kemono Hub Day. So it looks like a Friday event. It looks pretty cool. Ooh, and they have like some screenshots where it looks like they share like some fursuits. I'm gonna bring this one because it's kind of like want to do the embed so we can have the. There was like some screenshot, cool suits there. Looks like they were like sharing in the group. It seems like a fun event. We got another one. Sonic looks peekaboo. Spook. Scrolling through stuff. Oh, I'm getting into stuff that like is from last week now. Let me check the latest ones because I'm going by the top ones. Oh, there's another one from the Japanese community from Konto. Looks like this is, let me translate this. February anniversary exercise share bottom forest. Looks like another community event. And posted screenshot. There's a lot of cool like events that the Japanese community holds. We've got a... Let's see. Oh, my Firefox not cooperating. Yeah, Firefox just now refuses to respond. Weird. We got some more questions though. Kyle Whoops is asking, interesting, would two cloud-spawn avatars be shared internally? Because that's the only thing I can think of from what he said. And yes, I do it through Skin Mesh Render. I just find it super weird. They can have like shared assets if it's stored in the assets like outside of the avatar. So that could be like what's happening, maybe. You have to check. Like I like I don't know how it's like structured. So I would probably check like where are the assets like reference and see like where it gets updated. Also, Orion Moonclaw's asking, Wolf, has there been a typongs yet? If not, then typongs. With typongs. My typongs would be like MMC right now.
Well, I mean, I suppose my typongs just now actually, because I was tinkering with something on the side, admittedly. I actually just got my headless to run on my phone.
Oh. Well,
and it's
Orion asking this, so like
yeah,
this is the perfect typongs for Orion.
Yeah, I got it to run on my phone without root. I'm just using Termux.
But my typongs is MMC. Like it's like one of the coolest events. There's like a lot of like the creator jam, there are like Rusio Stifel and other like rigs, Jason. Like there's a project that is working on it. Kenneth Rugo. Like there's so many people. Like I'm probably forgetting a bunch of names. Like who work on it. Like and who make it happen. It's like the coolest event every year, and I'm always like looking forward to it. And they put so much effort into like making it happen, and the community puts so much into it too. So that's my tampongs. And thanks to everyone like behind the event and everyone participating too.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another post. This user I haven't actually seen before. Let me take a screenshot of this and then also post a video. So someone called Retro Raccoon looks like they're doing some kind of avatar commissions and we're doing some streams. Just gonna give them a bit of a shout out. So let's give this a watch. Kind of want to like have like controls on the back of the video player so I can like.
Oh, I feel so full and inflated with baby right now. Oh man. Oh no, the baby's coming.
Oh no.
Oh, it hurts. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm bored.
Like,
wow.
So...
Come towards me, my beautiful baby
hello
child.
World. Hello.
Hello world.
Hello,
Oh, I'm going to name you Hello Kitty Savage. No. All right, at 15k likes, guys, I'm going.
Well, that's one way to like showcase you're making avatars. Oh my god. Oh no.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Hello? I think I might
Hello?
have
Can
died.
you hear me?
I can hear you now. I'm frozen. Something clogged.
Uh-oh.
This looks like a render because like I'm like frozen, like video's frozen.
Oof.
Oh yeah, it just still works, okay. Well, with 10 minutes left, do we have any more questions? I don't know if I'm like going driving it, but I'm kind of wondering if I should end the stream.
Hmm. I mean, we only have 10 minutes left anyway, so we might as well just end it here.
Okay. So, if you can still hear me, thank you for watching. Sorry for cutting it 10 minutes early, but there weren't really too many questions, and the render has decided to freeze, which is kind of interesting. It's actually, I think, the first time like it's gonna happen. But thank you for watching. Thank you everyone for supporting platform, and we're gonna let everyone do cool MMC stuff. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you next week. But I would wave like well, can be waving, but it can't be seen when
Bye.
waving because the render froze. So thank you very much for joining, and probably try to rate someone from my desktop. So give me a second. Mwah.